respect for the teams, referee, and your fellow spectators will make football a better game for everyone. We remind you that there is no place for racism, but only for friendship. A no smoking policy is in operation at the UEFA Friendship Cup 2025. Any person using tobacco or e-cigarette products inside the stadium ball will be asked to stop immediately. Thank you for respecting the no smoking policy and enjoy the game. We hope that you will enjoy the game and that the teams produce a memorable performance in accordance with the spirit of respect and fair play. We wish both teams the best of luck. Bienvenue à l'UEFA Friendship Cup 2025 entre la France et l'Argentine. Le football nous a tous rapprochés. Ce merveilleux sport est basé sur le respect sur et en dehors du terrain. En faisant preuve de respect à l'égard des équipes, de l'arbitre et des autres spectateurs, nous faisons du football un jeu meilleur pour tous. Nous vous rappelons qu'il n'y a pas de place pour le racisme, mais seulement pour l'amitié. Une politique d'interdiction de fumer s'applique au tournoi de la UEFA Friendship Cup 2025. Toute personne utilisant du tabac ou des produits de cigarettes à l'intérieur du stade sera priée d'arrêter immédiatement. Merci de respecter la politique anti-tabac et de profiter du match. welcome teams of France and Argentina. Veuillez accueillir les équipes de la France et d'Argentine.
And so to the final group stage fixture at the UEFA Friendship Cup this year, as match day 3 concludes with a meeting between France and Argentina. Runners-up spot in Group A and a place in the bronze medal match on Tuesday is at stake in this one, as two of the traditional superpowers of the global game go head-to-head at under-18 level here in Nyon, on the stadium pitch at the Colombre Sports Centre, where the action is on the way after the national anthems.
Of Argentina. Si vous le pouvez, veuillez vous lever pour écouter l'hymne national de l'Argentine. Please remain standing for the national anthem of France. Veuillez rester debout pour l'hymne national de la France.
Well, their senior sides contested the last World Cup final. Now the next generation of France and Argentina meet at the Friendship Cup. And the USA's victory in the other Group A fixture earlier today means that top spot is now out of reach for either of these two. The Americans beat France on penalties and Argentina 2-0 on Wednesday. So their dramatic 3-2 success against Australia here this morning means the US have won the group and the Socceroos will finish bottom of it. This game now to determine second and third. Let's have a look at the team news. Only 4 of this France 11 also started the 3-0 win over Australia on Wednesday. Indeed, Pep Cabral, who captains the side, is the only French player to start all 3 of their group games at this Friendship Cup. The new name in the side is Cabral's Monaco clubmate, Nick Mokabakila, who was a late call-up this week and goes straight into the starting 11. Nadir El Jamali scored as a sub on match day 2, so he comes back in from the off. Watch out for the Marseille pair, Robinho Vaz and Daryl Bacola in attack. In contrast, Argentina make only their first 2 changes of the competition. They'd fielded the same side in their first 2 fixtures, the only exceptions today, the inclusion of Bruno Mascheroni and Mateo Lopez in place of Nahuel Flamenco and Tobias Perez, who both revert to the bench. They are still to score in the competition, but they stick with Matias Cordoba up front. He's already played first-team football for the Colon club, who provide 5 of this starting 11 for Argentina, all of whom are picked from lower division Ascenso sides. Logan Berchier is our referee for this one. one of the domestic Swiss-based officials who operates primarily in the second and third tiers of Swiss football. He's going through the pre-match formalities at the moment with the respective captains. Pat Cabral for France, their only ever present in the competition. Remember, every player in the squad has to play a minimum of 60 minutes across the 4 games in total. This is the last of the round-robin group stage fixtures, with one final game to come for all the 8 competing nations on Tuesday against the team that finished in the equivalent position in the other group. The equation in this one straightforward. France have to avoid defeat in 90 minutes, and they will finish second. An Argentina victory without the need for a penalty shootout, and they would swap places. They would be the ones to contest the bronze medal match, and France would be involved in that 5th place playoff effectively instead. But it is about more than just the result, more than just the football, this Friendship Cup. The players learning so much, both on and off the field. That's one of the notable differences with this particular competition. The onus on education, on fostering friendship, on learning from others, from different footballing countries and cultures. But of course there has always been a rivalry really on the football field between these two nations. Maybe most recently at that last World Cup final. But it predates that throughout the generations, and this is an opportunity for the next generation. And we're almost set for the start in Nyon. The last of the group stage games. Will be France then to get the action underway. Both teams are in their traditional colours. France from left to right in this first period. So much will go through their captain. Plays in that central midfield role, Pat Cabral. N'Golo Conte type position, really. A regular in the UEFA Youth League this season with Monaco, and interesting to note the call-up of Moka Bakila, his club mate, to slot into the side at left-back today, colleague of him in that Youth League competition. He's just signed his first professional contract with Monaco earlier in the week. Early free kick goes the way of Argentina. Referee Berchier may expect to be busy this afternoon. Early period of possession for France. And they mix it up with that longer ball forward. The games involving Les Bleus have certainly been eventful so far at this competition. Went behind inside a minute on opening day against the USA, when they saved their salvage act for stoppage time, scoring twice beyond the 90 to force a penalty shootout, and ultimately losing that penalty shootout has cost them the chance at top spot, because the USA have gone on to win both their further fixtures since then, and they can't be caught at the summit, despite France comfortably beating Australia by 3-0 on match day 2. Argentina winners of a penalty shootout against Australia in their first fixture, before also being beaten by the US. Ponce looking for options from the throw. As Cordoba making the run ahead of him. And it's into the feet of Matthias Cordoba, one of those with first team experience. He is primarily based with the Colón reserve side in Argentina. but he has played 3 times for their first team and scored in the Primera Nacional. And number 9 has been ever present at this competition, taken off late in both games so far. They fielded the same starting 11 for each of the first 2 matches, and only the 2 changes today, but the opportunity for others comes later off the bench. Full complement of substitutes available for this one, unlike the French, who are without a couple. Today, Johan Chauvin scored in the last game, and Marius Korkul has been the regular captain, but they both sit this one out. They do have the early corner here, though, and a lot going on in the middle. See that Bacola, the number 11, has peeled into all sorts of space on the other side of the penalty area. Only now, I think, has his presence been spotted by Argentina. And it goes more centrally instead. And they had enough back to deal with the danger. The side from South America. One of 2 representatives from that particular continent at this competition, along with Uruguay. Have finished at bottom of the other group without picking up a single point. El Jamali, goal scorer off the bench against Australia. There's the captain, Cabral. Gerrit Beku of Saint-Etienne. Just signed his first professional contract. The best is yet to come, says coach Landry Chauvin, of his midfield player who started the opening game. Came off the bench in midweek, back in today. So many options in that part of the pitch for France. And they come again with Bacola. El Jamali, strong start this for France. El Jamali's done really well to trick his way to the byline and cut back the cross. We'll keep the pressure on here with Bacola. Gerrit Beku. Oh, that's a lovely ball, slipped through. Rossier in behind, goalkeeper down smartly. Rubinho Vaz almost primed to profit. Didn't quite come for him. But it is Les Bleus on top in the ascendancy in the opening 6 minutes, certainly. Another free kick will follow. Sissoko guiding it back. El Jamali. He's up for this from the start, isn't he? El Jamali scored from range in that last game on Wednesday. Always going to be tempted to take it on from there again. Cabral always makes himself available, doesn't he? So much of the play comes through Pep Cabral in the centre. They are controlling the tempo, certainly. But Argentina content to sit back behind the ball at the moment. They've been forced into that to a certain extent, but their defensive discipline remains intact, and it's going to be required as the game goes on. Certainly, if how it started is anything to go by. Sissoko started against the USA on match day 1 in this right back role. Often prefers to play in the middle of defence, but they have plenty of strength in that particular part of the pitch as well. So Sissoko's opportunity has come wider. Barcola made his debut in Liga in January for Marseille. Played a couple of times for their first team now already. He's underlined his rising reputation at this competition already. Beautifully brought down. Barcola again. Yannick Beku. Lucas Rossier. Yannick Beku had continued his run, just didn't quite have the space in which to operate. Sissoko putting the pressure on. France still have it. Argentina on the ropes really, and they have been pretty much from the start. Just gone out of play, I think that one, yep. The assistant referee had spotted it. All France in the opening 10 minutes, but as yet no reward. And as yet, Lucas Kufia hasn't really had a save to make, despite this pressure that's being applied in and around his own penalty area. One of the more senior members of the Argentina side. He's been capped already, actually at under 20 level. On his first call-up for them just last month. One of the 5 from the Colón club. Plays for their reserve team, promoted from the under-20 setup in January of last year. Has been there, ever present in this competition. He's the one that will take the kick. Dumbuya guiding it back to his goalkeeper, who is Ayoub Akabu of Rennes. First choice really for this team. Started the opening game against the USA. He was given a breather on the bench on Wednesday when Isaac Douamo deputised, but Akabu back in, winning his 5th under-18 cap. Having won a couple for Morocco at under-16 level, for whom he also qualifies. Goalkeeper who turned 18 just last week. Well won back, and here is El Jamali in space. Sissoko. It's a clever ball in towards the run of Cabral. Cordoba just about getting the better of the tussle on the touchline there, certainly getting the decision, even if it was at a little personal cost to the centre forward. And as we've seen already, does often come wide and deeper to try and get involved. Hasn't really had a lot of service yet where he wants it. Cordoba in the thick of things again here. Throw taken quickly by Sissoko. Good tempo this from France. Going into the game 2 points above Argentina in the standings. So these nations will only swap places if Argentina win it without the need for a penalty shootout. Remember, if it does end all square after 90 minutes, it's a point apiece, and the side that wins the shootout gets an extra point, but that wouldn't be enough for Argentina. They are guaranteed, though, to finish above Australia, who've ended with just 1 point to their name after that dramatic game against the USA earlier. Well, Australia came back from 2-0 behind to level it, only to lose it late on. Rossier finding Pat Cabral. El Jamali, wider is Sissoko. Sissoko's cross cleared as far as Cabral again, nearly for El Jamali. Argentina had about 4 or 5 back with him. And down goes Bacola, feeling that he was blocked off unfairly. The referee lets it go on. Cordoba was the only target there for the counter-attack. Axel Dodote was there first. El Jamali. Forward by Bacola, he'd continued his run. Sissoko was the target for that one. Cabral to Bacola, Sissoko. Lovely little turn from Daryl Bacola, but still there wasn't quite the space to get his shot away at the end of that. They're maintaining, though, the intensity of the attacks. Keeping this pressure on. Argentina just haven't really been able to get out yet in the opening quarter of an hour. So here comes the corner. It's a much deeper delivery this time. He brought the Dodote up from the back. Sissoko. Nadir El Jamali. Featuring prominently for France in the opening stages. Sissoko has stayed central. That inverted fullback role, really. There's a bit of work for the referee to do here. Looks like a lengthy lecture. And I don't think any further action is going to be taken. We shall see. He may yet reach for his card. Certainly the medical team are going to be required. Interesting to note in that left-back role, Nick Mokabakila coming in to the French squad, let alone the team this week. A late addition. Teams are allowed to exchange one player during the course of the tournament. Baptiste Tourbe had initially been named, but he hasn't featured. He's actually been with France's extended under-21 squad in preparation for their European Championship, which gets underway this coming week. So de Tourbe no longer part of the Friendship Cup squad. Mokabakila, the one coming in. There was a yellow card in there for Ivan Barbona for the challenge. Referee allowed himself a little bit of thinking time, and he has cautioned Barbona. Key player in the Argentina team is the captain, but he's gone into the book already. Got as far as Colon's substitutes bench in the Copa Argentina at first team level without yet making his senior debut. He's the one that started the scoring from the penalty spot in the shootout in their opening game against Australia. There is confirmation of his caution. And the play back underway again. Cabral. Rossier. Under-19 French Cup winner with Rennes this season. He scored in that final actually against Dijon, did Lucas Rossier. Comes into this competition in really good heart. He's certainly been the dominant force in possession of France so far. Wider is Sissoko. Time to set himself for the cross. Delivers dangerously, and Robinho Vaz couldn't quite reach it. He wasn't far away from doing so on that far post. Still, this dominance hasn't yet translated into clear-cut opportunities for Les Bleus, but you suspect if they can maintain this, it is only going to be a matter of time. Needed to be a little more precise, although Bacola's got it back again. Axel de Dot. And he joined up with the squad just before the opening fixture, where he came on at half-time, and then he started against Australia on Wednesday. Played 4 times this season for St Etienne's B team, their reserve side who operate in the 5th tier of French football. Step up from the under-19s. Bacola. Daryl Bacola has a go. Argentina want the free kick. It wasn't forthcoming from referee Berchier, but that one will be. Quarter but caught on halfway by Sissoko. It looked as if the yellow card has been shown to one of the Argentinian players there for their protest, or for something that they said. They've got the free kick, but they've also got the caution. Just trying to simmer things down a little bit. It was Luciano Leguizamo who went into the book there. He was the one, I think, in the referee's face, and he wasn't happy with it. Logan Berchier, so he's booked him. Joins Barbona in that book. Been a frustrating start, really, in the opening 20 minutes for Argentina. They've not quite yet been able to get a foothold in the game. What they will take heart from is the scoreline and the fact that they have restricted France to few sights of their goal yet, for all of the ball that Les Bleus have had. Bacola. Forward by Mokabakila. As I say, it's been quite some week for him. Just signed his first professional contract, 3 days ago at Monaco, for whom he played 5 times in the UEFA Youth League this season. He only turned 18 last month. He's won 6 caps for France at under-16 level previously, but this is his debut at this age range, having joined up late in this competition. And straight into the side with Ilyas Salhi, who's been the regular left-back. Played the full 90 in the first 2 fixtures, given a breather on the bench today. Such is the nature of the competition, and the onus on mixing up the minutes, getting everybody involved, that there aren't too many players who have played every minute. Cabral the only one to start all 3 games for France, as I touched on, and you can certainly see his importance in this side. The pattern has been established in the opening quarter. Forward by Cabral. Cleared only as far as Bacola. And still, Bacola. Couple of efforts blocked, looking for Robinho Vaz. There's Argentina's way. They just about did enough there in the face of danger, because both Bacola and Vaz, the Marseille teammates, were intent on trying to give the French the lead. And neither were afforded the time or space to do so. They've been pinned back in and around their own penalty area, but when the ball is in the box, the Argentina defence thus far is doing its job. It didn't create an awful lot in that opening game against Australia, but equally remained defensively sound as it finished 0-0, and they won it on penalties. They couldn't find their goal threat either against the USA on Wednesday. And having conceded twice late in the first half, they weren't able to undo the damage. And that result, coupled with the USA's win over Australia earlier today, means that these two are playing only for the minor places, really, in Group A. That top spot is out of reach for either of them. Will be a final fixture, of course, for everybody on Tuesday against the side that finishes in the equivalent position in the other group. It's not just about the knockout element in this Friendship Cup. It really is an onus on everybody being involved. Everybody making the most of the experience offered. A little bit panicky from Dudno, but safety first in the end. And hasn't found himself in that sort of situation too frequently. Not often that Argentina have been in and around the French box yet. They can take advantage of the type of territory that they are now operating in. It really would shake up the status quo. I'm sure it factors into Claudio Gugnali's game plan. He would have expected France to see plenty of the possession, set his side up accordingly, and to make the most of the transitions. Little glimpses that they've shown so far as to how that could be a successful ploy. Cabral comes away with this though. Touch was a little heavy. To get Mascheroni involved over there, who came on at half-time in the first two games, gets his first start today. There's another foul over on that far side. They are beginning to mount up. There's another card as well. And they are also beginning to mount up. That is 3 Argentina players into the book already in the opening, 25 minutes or so. Don't think they could have any complaints over that one. Andre Maldonado, it was, the right back. He saw yellow on that occasion. Cabral's won it back well, but then runs into traffic. So Maldonado booked. Suffered a nasty-looking injury, actually, in their opening game against Australia, so it was something of a surprise to see him starting on match day 2 as well, but clearly able to shake off that injury. And one of the 9 that has started every group game for them. He doesn't turn 18 until next month, Andre Maldonado. They do actually have a 16-year-old on the bench, Argentina. Ciro Florentin is the youngest player at this competition. Came off the bench briefly on that match day 1. Real contrast between some of the competitors at this competition. Many based with big clubs either at home or abroad through the academy system, but others have not necessarily been out of their own nation previously until this Friendship Cup. Argentina have a very strict selection policy that they've decided to employ, only picking players from their lower divisions to give them greater exposure, developing them as individuals as well as footballers. Many of them are on the books of some of the bigger clubs in Argentina, but with their reserve or youth team sides that play lower down the pyramid. Vital chance for the scouts to have a look at them in action in this sort of situation as well. They can also learn much, as well as the players involved. That's what it's all about for everybody. El Jamali to Bakola. Now Mustafa Sissoko. Wasn't afforded a lot of room in which to work there. Johan Chauvin impressed in that right back role. He's been given the day off, actually, not on the bench today. He scored his first under-18 goal, the first goal of the game on Wednesday against Australia. El Jamali on target in that match as well, brings that one down beautifully. Finds Bakola, nearly for Rabinho Vaz. Said that before already in this first half. Sissoko, not quite for Bakola. There goes Gareth Beku. Season of struggle for Saint-Étienne's senior side, but at youth team level, they have 3 in this squad, rising rapidly through the ranks. Vaz's ball in almost came for his Marseille colleague, Daryl Bakola. There's a real understanding between those two, having risen through the ranks together at club level. Bakola joined Marseille at under 17 level from Red Star some 3 years ago now. Player who also has Congolese citizenship. Rabinho Vaz has played for Marseille's first team already. Cabral under pressure, but he's adept at dealing with that. Goes back to Doumbouya, who wanted, I think, to go back to his goalkeeper. That wasn't really on. Plan B for Doumbouya. And now they've lost it here. And the referee waves away the penalty appeal. It's a long and loud from Argentina. Good position he'd taken up. Logan Berchier had a long look at that. Made his decision quickly and made it very clear. And now France come up the other end. Well, Argentina have very quickly got players back in position defensively again. Just a little reminder, though, to France, for all that they've been in the ascendancy, dictating the pace of the game, dominating possession, they could still be vulnerable. And something has been said down on the bench there, because the referee's come racing across to brandish his yellow card again. And I think Argentina have potentially taken those penalty appeals on the touchline a little too far. Claudio Gugnali is their coach. Whether it was he or one of his staff down there, I'm not sure. They were clearly unhappy. We'll get the free kick here. There's still plenty being said. Down on the benches. Lucas Shelay is the fourth official, who is in the midst of all of that at the moment, trying to play peacemaker perhaps. Told it was Gugnali, the coach, who got that yellow card. Joining 3 of his players in the book already. Been the under-18 manager, the head of academy coaching with the under-20s as well for the last 3 years nearly now, as the vastly experienced Claudio Gugnali, 65 years of age, from La Plata, helping oversee the development of these under-18 players. He's a former assistant manager of the senior side, actually. Had 3 years in that job. Under Alejandro Sabella, you might remember. And he also worked under at Estudiantes at club level. He led this team on their Asian tour last August as well. They took a tournament title win in Japan. Played 3 games in Korea as well. The last competition prior to this one. The referee again has pulled this back. And this time there's a first French portion, as well as an Argentina free kick. I think that had been coming. Feisty affair, usually is when France and Argentina share a football field, Friendship Cup or not. They can be friends off the field, but on it, there's a real competitive edge. Gignoli trying to get involved again, this time with the ball at feet on the touchline. It's Rubinho Vaz, by the way, got that yellow card for France. He's the one that conceded the free kick, which cost him the caution. Ivan Barbona is the one standing over it. Bit of responsibility wearing the number 10 for Argentina, isn't there? It's been entrusted to the captain, as the set-piece responsibility may well be here in addition. Yeah, it will be left for Barbona. Cabral's clearance wasn't quite as intended. He miscued it somewhat. It's gone behind for the corner. And this is a bit better from Argentina. They're growing into the game the longer the first half has gone on. They've been withstanding some heavy pressure, having to work so hard without the ball for much of the match. But now just starting to threaten more frequently up the other end. Can they conjure up from the corner? Likes of Ravano and Flores are up from the back, trying to make their presence felt in the middle. And that's exactly where it goes. A little bit of a flap at it from Akabu, but he has it safely. And only just stayed inside his penalty area when clearing that away, but he has now sparked the counter-attack. Rubinho Vaz in behind, and Flacker to thwart him. It's the initial run where he had just strayed beyond that defence. And having just picked up that yellow card as well a few moments ago, Rubinho Vaz will need to keep his frustration in check. Eventful start he's had to his senior career with Marseille. Came on for his Liga debut at half-time against Strasbourg in January. Replaced Neil Maupay, won a penalty. Mason Greenwood scored it. And he also came on later that same month at Nice as well. He's played 3 times in total for the first team. 10 appearances and 6 goals for their B team in the 5th tier. Having joined last summer from Sochaux, he rose through the ranks. As I mentioned, he's developed over the course of the last season that understanding with Daryl Bacola that the national team are hoping to profit from today. That's the first French name taken a few moments ago. He's the target for the clearance here. Flores just getting a touch to it. And there was space for El Jamali, but it just wasn't quite able to reach it. He's another that's represented Morocco at youth international level. He's played for them actually at the under-18s as well, as Nadir El Jamali. Like Gareth Beku, his Saint-Etienne colleague, just signed professionally. They ended up in the bottom 3 in Liga this season. They will have further opportunities for first-team football next year. And if there is to be a reliance on youth, then it would appear to be in good hands. Three players from Saint-Etienne in the starting 11 for France today. That is more than any other club side in this 11. 2 from Rennes, 2 from Monaco, 2 from Marseille. But it's also about learning from others. And not just your own teammates, but off the field, players from all of the competing nations involved in tours and educational classes laid on by UEFA. It's all part of what makes this competition a little bit different from other youth tournaments. First introduced last year in Turkey, such a success that it's back as an annual event. UEFA also appointing technical observers to share analysis and insights with the coaching teams. There's a lot that they can learn as well. It's a valuable exercise and platform for scouts globally in the game. National federations worldwide keeping a close eye on this, I'm sure. There's Sissoko. Still await the opening goal of this final round-robin fixture. Last game in Group B is currently ongoing as well, involving Portugal and Senegal. They're fighting it out for top spot. These two for second and third in Group A. Japan were 4-1 winners against Uruguay earlier, and as mentioned in this section, USA beating Australia 3-2 in a thriller. Bacola does well to ride the challenge, and another one, and to keep his feet. In the end, he might just have overrun it a little bit. Pap Cabral. There's Sissoko. Foul in there, right in front of the referee, and the yellow card as well, another one. It was Gadek Beku who made the contact and was shown the yellow. Highly rated midfield player, Andre Chauvin, the soon-to-be outgoing coach of France, is a big fan of his. Chauvin agreeing to stay on for this competition. So his farewell fixture will be on Tuesday in that crossover game. Still to be decided, of course, against whom it will be. So an Argentina free kick, Lucas Kufia, the goalkeeper, to take it. Gadek Beku into the book. Goalkeeper's content to let that go. In the end, it always looked like it should be his ball. And Akabu did have it covered. Well, they're hoping for a strong end to this competition of the French after what has been quite an underwhelming season results-wise for these young players in the under-18 age range. France, of course, with such a strong reputation at youth level. So much success down the years with young players, many of whom go on to feature for the senior side at a very early age anyway. Under-17s losing the final of the European Championship just last weekend, reaching the final for the third time in the last 4 years before they were beaten by Portugal. National side in action tomorrow in the third place playoff in the Nations League in Germany against Germany. And the under-18s giving a good account of themselves at this Friendship Cup, but it's been something of a frustration this first half. They've bossed it without translating that to clear sights of goal, and now they've got some defending to do as we head towards half-time. Argentina still looking for their first goal of the Friendship Cup. Two points to their name, courtesy that goalless draw against Australia and the victory that followed on penalties in what was the very first game of this competition this year, some 6 days ago. El Jamali, that's well weighted into his path. El Jamali's cross is a good one, and it's dribbled in. They have made their pressure pay. France do have their reward late in this first half. Robinho Vaz has been waiting for a ball in like that. He makes the most of it. Scores his first goal of the Friendship Cup. They will argue that on the balance of this first half, it is a lead that they more than merit. They've certainly had to work hard for it. Rubinho Vaz gets the goal, but it's made by El Jamali. It's he who bent the ball in beautifully. And the big number 9 in between the two centre-backs was in the right place to apply that finishing touch from close range. He's come close on more than a couple of occasions at this competition before now opening his account, and a timely moment to do so. Psychologically so important, scoring just a couple of minutes before half-time. At potentially a stage of the game when Argentina were just getting more of a foothold. Here goes El Jamali, and it does come through to him. Perhaps it shouldn't have done. Jamali looking to make the most of it. Just too high in the end. Argentina a little rattled though. There wasn't a huge amount of composure at the back. What they can't afford to do is concede a second in quick succession before that half-time whistle goes. That really would give them an uphill task. Free kick is Francis, right on the edge of the penalty area there, their own penalty area. Argentina try and respond. The end of a first half that is about to be extended by a further minute.
Additional time will be played.
Confirmation of that 1 minute of stoppage time. France scoring 2 minutes before the end of the 45. I think had they gone in at half-time at 0-0, there would have been a real disappointment in the French camp, given how the first half had unfolded. A measure of relief, maybe, getting their goal. An extra onus on Argentina to attack in the second half. Haven't necessarily needed to modify their game plan whilst it stayed goalless, because they have to win inside 90 minutes if they are to overhaul France and finish second in the group. Otherwise they'll be involved in effectively that 5th place playoff on Tuesday. They will need to turn things around in the second half, because it is France ahead, and on the balance of play they will feel deservedly so, but they had to work and they had to wait before getting themselves in front. Rubinho Vaz on the end of the ball from Nader El Jamali to reap some reward for France in a first half in which they were the dominant force, certainly in terms of possession. The Argentinian defence had stood firm until that moment. Half-time here, it's France 1, Argentina 0.
Quick reminder that a no smoking policy is in operation at the UEFA Friendship Cup 2025. Any person using tobacco or e-cigarette products inside the stadium ball will be asked to stop immediately. Thank you for respecting the no smoking policy and enjoy the game. Une interdiction de fumer est appliquée lors de l'UEFA Friendship Cup 2025. Toute personne surprise en train de fumer du tabac ou une cigarette électronique dans l'enceinte du stade sera priée de cesser immédiatement. Nous vous remercions de bien vouloir respecter l'interdiction de fumer. Bon match. We also want to remind you that if the score is level at the end of normal playing time, the winner will be determined by penalty shootout. No extra time will be played. Nous vous rappelons également que si les deux équipes sont à égalité à la fin du temps réglementaire, le vainqueur sera déterminé par une séance de tir au but. Il n'y aura donc pas de prolongation.
So welcome back, almost set for the start of the second half. France leading Argentina by 1-0, and Argentina making a couple of changes at half-time. They're going to bring on Ramiro Montenegro off the bench for the third game in succession. He will take the spot in the side of Andre Maldonado. And the captain, Ivan Barbona, has also been replaced. Valentin Huertas on in his spot. So effectively Huertas will go to right back, and Montenegro on as well, as Argentina wait to get this second half started. Conceded just a couple of minutes before the end of that first period, having stood firm under real pressure for so long. Now can they respond after the break? It is Argentina in those famous light blue and white striped shirts to get the game going again. Claudio Gugnali making that double change. Reminder, up to 9 substitutions are permitted per match. There are 3 further second half windows available for teams to make changes beyond those done at half time. Andre Chauvin has opted to keep it as it was. Try and build on the momentum of that goal that they scored just before the interval. Differing approaches from the competing nations at the Friendship Cup with regards to mixing up the minutes. France have tended to rotate their starting lineup very regularly. Argentina have stuck with a settled side and made more substitutions earlier in games. So no surprise to see them alter a couple at the interval. France on the front foot here, but the cross too close to Kouffia, who for all that French dominance in the first half hadn't really had a notable save to make until Robinho Vaz was able to turn in from close range that opening goal. It wasn't a surprise given the overall balance of play that Les Bleus were able to edge ahead. Just seeing confirmation of those changes as well. Huertas came on for Maldonado in the first fixture and played at right back. He can also operate in midfield. Montenegro, who plays for the Moron club at under-19 level, his local side in the greater metropolitan area of Buenos Aires, is on as well. Maintains his record of coming off the bench in every group game. Space here for Lucas Rossier if the ball, attempting to find him, had been a little more precise. It just escapes him. Signed his first professional contract last November, Lucas Rossier, with Rennes. He's one of 4 players in the squad from that particular club. The under-19 Cup winners in France this season. Lovely little flick from Rossier there, enjoying himself. And regardless of the results, I'm sure all of the players involved are enjoying the experience at this competition, both on and off the field. And a lovely part of the world as well, on the banks of Lake Geneva. And the local community have been heavily involved in this competition. The schools and football clubs are invited to come and watch the games. Competing nations have based themselves in the local villages. All about making friends. Pacola to Cabral, settled into a familiar pattern already. First couple of minutes of this second half. Sissoko to Pat Cabral. Mokabakila. Rossier ahead of him. Strong surge from Rossier. Good ball as well. Gadek Beku was forced away from goal. Rossier. Finds Daryl Bacola. Looks like he's been given the license to roam where he feels he can do the most damage. They've got plenty waiting in the penalty area here, but they are patient and precise in attempting to pick that right pass, utilise their presence. Here's Bacola again. As soon as he gets the ball, he quickly finds himself surrounded. Quiet for Mokabakila. Has to hurry back now. Cordoba holding it up, trying to provide that focal point for Argentina. But France have kept him on the fringes really so far. He had support there from Leguizamo. The All Boys club plays for their reserve side. He did play the full game against the USA on Wednesday. That's well worked. Sissoko's ball in, Robinho Vaz trying to reach it. This is Rossier. Couldn't quite collect it or return it. But Argentina was stretched again. And France really have picked up in the first 5 minutes of the second half, where they left off at the break. Cabral. Bacola. There is Doumbouya of Nice, for whom he's played 4 times for the first team already. Actually made his debut in February of last year in the Coupe de France. Amadou Doumbouya. Rossier. Let's get it Beku. There's Cabral. They are providing a very useful platform in midfield. They certainly have the players capable of profiting further forward and building on that platform. Here is Cabral again. Mustafa Sissoko. Rossier and Bacola having momentarily switched flanks. Mokabakila to Luengadek Beku, trying to keep his feet. Ultimately in vain. Cabral reaching it just ahead of Cordoba. France are first to many of the second balls at the moment. But this time, the bounce of the ball really goes against them. There's a fair bit going on down on the touchline there. Not the first time this afternoon that has been the case. I mentioned the French record at youth team level. Argentina's is pretty impressive as well. They've finished third at the Under-17 World Cup 3 times. They've won the South American Under-17 Championship 4 times. They will play in this year's Under-17 World Cup in Qatar in November. Drawn into a group with Belgium, Tunisia and Fiji at that competition. And at Under-20 level, well, they've been World Cup winners 6 times. Famously first in 1979 when a certain Diego Maradona was in their side. And they'll contest the Under-20 World Cup in Chile later this year. So forward it went from Junior Flores. Hasn't entirely been dealt with by France. Now their chance to turn defence into attack with that one ball over the top for Robinho Vaz, who will reach it first. And Vaz is denied by Kufir, who came out quickly and narrowed the angle and did enough. But having found himself in that position, Robinho Vaz would have backed himself, I think, to have scored another one. His goal, the difference. But he's unable to double his and his team's tally. No time on the ball for anybody at the back, though, for Argentina. They're a little relieved to get a goal kick at the end of that one. The draw for that Under-20 World Cup that I talked about was made only last weekend at the end of May. Cuba, Australia and Italy await in Chile. Now options either side here, but the shot always too high. From Matias Cordoba. Speculative attempt, really. That was never troubling the target. Does have that goal in the Primera Nacional, scored at Chicharito Juniors in April. First senior goal. He's played 36 minutes in the top flight, but operates still, as I mentioned, primarily with the Colón club's reserve side, which is why he qualifies for this squad. Selected from the Ascenso in the lower divisions in Argentina. And that has to be put into some context, really, when considering their performances at this competition. Rosier is going to be called back by the flag. For Argentina, maybe more than most, it is not just about the results, it's about developing the individuals, about broadening their horizons on and off the field, expanding their knowledge, personal development, as well as that they will reap the rewards of in terms of playing time here and training time as well with this group. Plenty of distance on that one. Beku got an important touch to it. Rosier scrapping for it. Nicola was in there as well. Happened right in front of the dugout, that one. Facundo Jozwiak is the player who was down. Plays for the Quilmes club. He was brought off at half-time on match day 1. And a little later in the piece on Wednesday. Although he started every game. He's going to leave the free kick here to be swung in threateningly by Huertas. And they'll get the corner out of it. Couldn't take the chance there, the French. Safety first in just turning that behind. Opportunities to showcase their set-piece threat have remained limited for Argentina in the game so far. Can they make the most of this one? Haven't committed too many forward for it, but there's a lot of movement in the middle. Just too close to the goalkeeper, that's the way it looked, but it's actually gone in. Off Akapu, and Argentina, in bizarre circumstances, really have their first goal of the Friendship Cup and their equalising goal of the game. And it's something of a gift for them. Looked like that corner had been curled in too close to the keeper, but Akapu spilled it. And it certainly cost his side. He was under a little bit of pressure, but no more than you would expect in the circumstances. But all he could do was help it into his own net in the end. All square at 1-1. And that was out of keeping, really, with what had gone before. So France need to try and do it all over again. And Rosier might have the chance to do so here. He was almost in, then goes down. Kufia came and collected. It really does set things up, though, just before the hour for what could be a fascinating conclusion to the game. France were in control, but whilst it was only 1-0, that was the danger, I guess. And it is 1-0 no more. One that Akapu in goal will want to see again. Can they turn it around in their entirety? And if they can, of course, then these sides would swap places in Group A. In from Jozwiak. France have got plenty back defending their own penalty area here, but there's really good distance on the throw. It's as effective really as a corner, that one. Bacola getting a foot to it to partially clear it, but Robinho, that was dispossessed, albeit only briefly, by Cuetas, against whom the decision has gone. And Argentina buoyed by that equaliser, their belief bolstered that they could maybe turn this around. They certainly have time. Anything could happen from here. Painful one for Bakila on halfway. It's another flashpoint just in front of the dugouts. Logan Berchier has certainly been kept busy for much of this match. Took charge of 8 games in the Swiss Challenger League, the second tier here in Switzerland in the season just gone. Rising through the refereeing ranks at the age of 29. It's also a competition in which the officials can learn a lot. Thought that Roberto Rossetti, the head of refereeing at UEFA, will actually take charge, make a comeback on the field for the final. Pat Cabral. France just need to clear their heads, I think, after the concession of that equaliser and the nature of it. Further fueling their frustration. They will feel that to an extent it was a self-inflicted wound, really. Can they undo that damage? Here is Lucas Rossier. Gadek Beku. Rossier. Support here from Bakila. Those two combine again. No free kick though for France, and instead they could be caught a little short by the counter-attack. Cordoba didn't quite get it back where he wanted it. But Argentina do have it here, and they have options. Referee content to let that go on. He was right on the scene. If anything, the tempo and the intensity getting ever more frenzied. Pat Cabral. And that will suit Argentina, really. France have been knocked out of their stride somewhat, but they still look a threat in these sort of situations. Rossier. Cordoba couldn't quite make it stick. Found himself outnumbered. Argentina are waiting to make a change and get Maurizio Aravena into the action. Here is Rossier for France, though he's seeing it very frequently. He did brilliantly to wriggle his way to the byline there and pull it back just before the ball went out of play, but he has hurt himself in the process. And he stayed down. That will give Argentina the chance to make this change. Luciano Leguizamo is the player coming off to be replaced by Aravena. He turns 18 tomorrow, looking for an early birthday present here. The San Telmo player operates with their under-20 side. He's on in place of Leguizamo. He's not quite been able to exert the influence that he would have hoped for this afternoon. So Aravena to take his chance and make his first appearance of this competition. unused on the bench for the first couple of games. He will come on to get a chunk of his quota of minutes. Every player in the squad needing to play at least 60 minutes over the course of the 4 fixtures. We're certainly going to see some changes for the final game, which will be that crossover match against the side in the equivalent position in the other group, which is coming towards its conclusion as we speak in the final Group B fixture between Portugal and Senegal. This will come through for Bacola, and now for Rossier. And trying to bend one, but the goalkeeper had it covered. Saw it all the way there, Lucas Kafia. And holds on with the minimum of fuss. It's his opposite number, Ayoub Akubu, who's been in the spotlight in this second half. His own goal that has levelled up the game at 1-1. But still over a quarter of the contest to come. France will be disappointed if they don't go on and re-establish their advantage. But it is far from certain at this stage that they will do so. Height and distance on that one. Plenty of both from Kufia. Rossier. He felt he was caught. Good fall for France to launch it longer, but they weren't able to keep hold of it for too long. And the referee had already blown the whistle before the challenge then came in on Huertas. And again, it's not particularly friendly at the Friendship Cup, with players from both sides getting involved in this. Close enough again to the coaching staff for them to have their say, but also to try and step in and sort it out. Pull their players away from the scene. Shows how much it means though, doesn't it? Yes, they're forging friendships off the field, but on it, they want to win. They wouldn't be here playing for their countries if that wasn't the case. The referee does have his card out. Hasn't yet brandished it in any particular direction, but I think that is going to come here. It's Valentin Huertas who stayed down. Looks like Lucas Rossier is being called across, but he's not the only one. I could see a yellow apiece at least here. Certainly taking his time before showing the card. Maybe, I think, because he wanted a word with Huertas as well, who is now back on his feet again. And he's continuing the conversation. Certainly hasn't stood for any nonsense, has he, Logan Berthier today? The ball from Bacola, it's just a little too heavy. And it drops behind and goes for the goal kick. So just confirming those yellow cards, it was Rossier of France who went into the book, along with Valentin Huertas. No sooner did he get up from that period of treatment than he was cautioned as well. That's what the referee was waiting for. Well, we saw an Australian red late in the game in the first match of this group earlier today. The way this is going, it wouldn't be a huge surprise if there was another one. Certainly the yellow cards are mounting up all the time. There's Cabral. Rossier thought about playing it down the line for Bakila. Wasn't able to pick that pass, and here's Cordoba up the other end to take it on early. It was close, but it was never quite close enough. One of the players that they would have wanted in that position, Matthias Cordoba. It really could go either way, this, into the last 20 minutes. Cabral. Rubinho Vaz was looking for Daryl Bacola, almost broke back to Vaz. Cabral wins it. Dodot to Sissoko. El Jamali taking over. Hasn't featured as frequently, really, in the second half. Instead, Rossier has. Bakila's ball in. These free kicks beginning to mount up as well. They are just interrupting the French fluency and affording Argentina a little grip on the game. But they're in no great hurry. So we will see another change or two here. The activity this time is on the French bench. He's left it until now as Landry Chauvin, who mixed things up. What an impact that Ryan Messi Tamfori had as a substitute in their opening game. Came on against the USA and he scored twice in stoppage time as they battled back from 2-0 behind after 92 minutes to force a penalty shootout. It earned him a start against Australia on Wednesday. The Strasbourg 17-year-old, he scored twice in the Coupe de France for the first team earlier this season, is into the action. Not the only one, I'll go through the others in a moment. 3 changes for France, but first the free kick comes in. And that one is comfortably gathered by Akupu. Unlike the corner that has proved so costly that led to the leveller.
Substitution for France. Number 9 is
Tried to hold that one up, but unable to force his way through.
And number 7 is being replaced by number 17.
There's Bacola. We'll get the corner out of that. So Rossier, who was a real threat down that flank, is one of those that has made way. Enzo Calabayic seemed to move to Manchester United this summer from Le Havre. Is on in his place. El Jamali has also gone off. His influence was waning a little bit. Adama Baraji, who scored with his last touch before he was replaced against Australia on Wednesday, is on in a role reversal this time. Here's the corner. Goalkeeper watched it carefully and gets decent distance on the punch clear. Rubinho Vaz has also gone off for France. Their goal scorer is the one replaced by Messi Tamfori. That one comfortable for Kafia. So they still have a couple of substitution windows available to the French in what remains. Andre Chauvin leaving it late to change it. They haven't quite had the same sort of dominance in this second half. Not being able to score the second goal could come back to cost them. Argentina have grown in belief the longer it's gone on. Famous fixture, of course, this on the international calendar at senior level. And the under-18s are contesting it as keenly as you would expect when representing their nations. And you wouldn't necessarily like to call which way it's going to go. They're just both taking a little bit of a collective breather here before getting ready for one last big push. We're almost set for the restart then. And for what could be such a crucial quarter of an hour in terms of the overall standings in this section. If it stays this way, it will be France who finish second and Argentina third, exactly where they started the afternoon. But a goal for the South Americans at this stage and they would swap places. And we now know how Group B has finished up. Portugal winners against Senegal in that final fixture to go to the top of that group. They will play in the final on Tuesday against the USA. Japan have finished second in that section, and Senegal slipping from first to third today. So the runners-up of this group, currently set to be France, will meet Japan on Tuesday as it stands. If Argentina do end up in third, Senegal will be their opponents. (5-2) it finished, by the way, in Portugal's favour in the end. Plenty of goals around today at the Friendship Cup. So France change. Ilyas Salhi, who played the full 90 the first two games, is going to come on here in place of Mokabakila at left back. Like-for-like switch, reversal of one of the changes that was made to the starting 11 today from Wednesday. Salhi of Nice joins his clubmate Doumbouya in the back four. He has played senior football for Nice. He made his debut actually in the UEFA Europa League against Rangers back in November in a 4-1 defeat. Turns 18 next month. There's Baraji. He's taken over that Rossier role, wide on the left of the attack. And now has Salhi behind him. This is Doumbouya to bring it out from the back. Nearly found her way through. Salhi. Reminder, if it does stay all square after 90 minutes, there will be a penalty shootout to determine who gets the extra point, but it would be academic in terms of the overall standings, because 2 points for Argentina wouldn't be enough to catch France. They would get the one for the draw. They have to beat them in 90 minutes to move above them. Kufir's clearance, just kept in over that. But not for long. There's some minutes of the 90 to go. The onus really is on Argentina. They are the ones that need to win this. This would do for France for second spot in the group and the chance to play in that bronze medal match. After the end of the four fixtures on Tuesday, the conclusion of the competition, the players will all get together for the medal ceremony and a barbecue to follow to bring down the curtain on the Friendship Cup in fitting fashion, really. But plenty of football to come first before then on Tuesday, and the last dozen minutes or so here, because this one is still right in the balance. He's looking for Canabayic. They got a couple in the penalty area. And they wanted maybe a penalty. It's just outside, I think. That's where the referee's given it. Free kick just outside the box. And a yellow card as well for the challenge. Found themselves in a sticky spot near the South Americans there. Some treatment is going to be required as well. This is a useful position for the French. They'll bring plenty forward for it. Argentina was certainly stretched. Going to make another couple of changes, I think, probably before the free kick. Argentina. Cordoba is going to come off. Gabriel Vázquez will be his replacement, I'm told. And Facundo Jozwiak taken off in every game will continue that trend. Nahuel Flamenco, who started the first two of the Ferro club. He was involved in the penalty shootout and scored from the spot against Australia on match day 1, is on, and who knows, might have to take another one. But France will hope it doesn't get that far if they can conjure something up from here. They certainly had a little bit of time to assess their options. Try and produce something from the training ground maybe when it matters most. Argentina with pretty much everybody back defending it. Flamenco, the last to arrive off the bench, will head straight into his own penalty area as well to further bolster their numbers in there. His first task to try and foil the free kick. So in towards the goalkeeper, and Koukia was able to hold on to it. Was able to deal with it, unlike Akabu at the other end. And it's unfortunate that moment, wasn't it, for Ayoub Akabu, the own goal equaliser. He's had a decent game, he's had a good tournament. Some good stops in that first fixture against the USA. Been wanting further action taken here, and the referee has obliged. He's reached for his card again. Those yellows keep coming. Pep Cabral. He has continued his run and got on the end of that, and will probably settle for the corner. Still looking the likelier to get themselves back in front of France. Corner flicked on. Where's it going to fall? Favourably in the end for Argentina. Late in distance on the clearance. Well, they might be able to spark something here on the counter-attack. So Dirk coming under pressure. As was Salhi, but they'll persist in their policy of trying to play their way out of trouble. Yannick Beku. This is Barashi. Lovely goal he got. Something of a mic drop moment for him in midweek, because he was taken off in the immediate aftermath of that goal while celebrating it. It was his last kick of the game. Back involved for the conclusion here. It's his first goal for under 18s. Now they've worked this well of France, but just can't quite get the shot away at the end of it. Not yet anyway. Still potentially the opportunity. Salhi. This is Bacola. Quite for Enzo Canabayik, who just ran out of room. And the understanding is that when he moves to Manchester United from Le Havre, where he was out of contract this summer, he will then be loaned here to Switzerland, to Lausanne Sport for the season. He's son of the Cameroonian international, former World Cup player, Andre Canabayik. 8 goals in 15 appearances for Le Havre's under-19s this season. And it's reported that Manchester United saw off interest from Paris Saint-Germain for his signature this summer. He started the last game. He's come off the bench in the other two. Joel Koulibaly is going to come on next for France, in place of Sissoko. They're both making further changes.
Deux remplacements pour l'équipe de France. Le numéro 14 est remplacé par le numéro 4 et le numéro 19 est remplacé par le numéro 15. Un remplacement pour l'équipe d'Argentine. Le numéro 11 est remplacé par le numéro 17.
Both teams taking this late opportunity inside the final 5 minutes of the 90 now to mix it up a little bit, get fresh legs on for the finish. That's Flamenco stepping in to win the ball back well. Challenges are still coming thick and fast. Referee lets that one go. Argentina have done well in those sort of situations, doubling up defensively to win the ball back. Eric Becker has also gone off, by the way, for France, to be replaced by Junior Ake, who wasn't in the matchday squad in midweek, but did start the opening game. The Rennes player. Argentina have taken off Mascheroni and introduced Tobias Perez, who started the first 2 games. There's confirmation of that other French alteration. Yet another yellow card, this time for the concession of the free kick in potentially troublesome territory. Tobias Perez had come off at half-time in the previous 2 matches before being introduced late off the bench today, in place of Mascheroni. It's Messi Tamfori that went into the book for France that time. Saw real late drama in the opening French game when they themselves scored twice from 2 behind in stoppage time against the USA. Argentina looking for a late one here, nearly. And the goalkeeper gets down to make the save this time, Akabu. They almost squeezed it in, had a couple of goes at doing so. As Argentina try and turn it around. My sense may be that Akabu is vulnerable in those sort of situations, given the manner of the concession of the equaliser. But no way beyond him this time. Ayoub Akabu keeps his team on terms. Little flick was by Messi Tamfori. It's overhit. They've both been involved in a penalty shoot already in the Friendship Cup in their opening games. France losing theirs to the USA. Argentina beating Australia from the spot. It may well be that they finish the group stage as they started it, with another penalty kick competition. Just to reiterate, it would be academic in the overall standings. touch there was from Canabaik, almost got it back again.
We would like to remind you that if the score is level at the end of the normal playing time, the winner will be determined by penalty shootout. No extra time will be made. Nous vous rappelons que si les deux équipes sont à égalité à la
Cabral,
temps réglementaire,
last minute of the 90. Cabral's ball in was a useful one. Well, it's been fiercely fought throughout. And to an extent, certainly in the second half, more so than the first, they have cancelled each other out a little bit. But it's not done yet. 90 minutes are up. We're going to have 4 further minutes from here before the penalty shootout would be required. This is French territory, maybe, given their record in stoppage time against the USA. There is Cabral. A little bit of housekeeping from earlier, just clearing up a couple of those cautions. Dumbuya for France got one a few minutes ago, and so did Ravano of Argentina, adding their names to that increasing tally in the referee's book. Cabral. Junior Ake, the substitute, linking with Bacola. Nearly got it back from Barachi. That was certainly the intention. You could certainly see what they were trying, but so could Argentina. Able to cut out the through ball and suddenly get themselves facing the other way again. They are the ones that need this winning goal before the end of stoppage time. If they get it, they will finish second in Group A. Otherwise, it's a 5th place playoff with Senegal on Tuesday. And France would finish as the group runners-up, then will play Japan in the bronze medal match. That is still not yet set in stone, with a couple of minutes of this added period to go. Bacola for France. They're taking it in turns to attack right now. Bacola looking to slip it through. It comes for Cabral. It's a heavy touch from the captain. It's a strong surge. There may still be something at the end of this. They wanted at least the free kick. Argentina didn't get it. Kept in by Messi Tamfori. Barachi, he brought it down beautifully, invited the challenge really, and wins the free kick. That's exactly what they needed at this stage. And he knew exactly what he was doing, Adama Barachi, in that moment. So can they take all 3 points here without the need for the penalty shootout? It still wouldn't be enough to catch the USA after their win earlier. But it would take them to 7 points if they could win the game. Very healthy return from the round-robin phase of the competition. And ultimately, it would have been that penalty shootout defeat against the USA that cost them. But it's still a big if, isn't it? They're still being held here by Argentina, as the ball is bent in and behind by Canabaik, and it was rather wasteful, really, after the big build-up. It may be that was the last chance. So France instead will move to 5 points, Argentina to 3. There's 1 point further available in the shootout. It wouldn't be enough for the South Americans, who have battled back from behind in this second half and have held France to a 1-1 draw The goal at the end of the first period from Rapinho Vaz, cancelled out by the own goal from the goalkeeper, Ayoub Akabu. Enough to force a penalty shootout where Akabu will have the chance to step up to centre stage again and maybe redeem himself. But whatever happens from the spot, it will be France who finish second in Group A and who will go into that bronze medal match on Tuesday. What follows from here, academic in terms of the overall standings, but plenty of pride to play for from the penalty spot that goes with that extra point available. At the end of the 90, though, it's finished all square. France won, Argentina won, penalty kicks to come. So last-minute instructions being imparted as both teams prepare for penalties. They both have had practice in this competition. France started with a shootout, which they lost 5-4 against the USA. Cabral, Barcola, Rossier and Canabaik all scored from the spot, but Ilyas Salhi and Gadagbeku were both unable to convert, and it cost them. Argentina were successful in their previous shootout. They won 4-3 from the spot against Australia in the very first fixture of this year's Friendship Cup after a goalless draw. Scored all 4 of their penalties. Ryan Brownlee and Hayne Eames missing for Australia. But it really is only pride in that extra point to play for, because even if Argentina are to win the shootout again, it will not be enough to overhaul France in the overall Group A standings. Topped by the USA, Australia bottom. We knew that before kick-off in this game. And it will be France now that finished second. Argentina's only chance of catching them was to beat them in 90 minutes. They haven't done that, but they still do have the opportunity to end the group stages with a victory if they can keep their nerve and succeed from the spot again. And of course, with this competition being all about development rather necessarily than the results, this is a very valuable exercise for these young players to go through this sort of situation in front of the cameras on a global stage. Not too many penalty shootouts though, where to an extent the pressure is off. The Friendship Cup prioritising participation over the knockout element. Why every competing nation, all 8 of them, guaranteed those full 4 fixtures. The last one will be that crossover match against the team that finished in the same position in the other group. And a reminder that Portugal have won that group after a 5-2 victory against Senegal, who slipped from first to third on this final day of the round-robin games. Japan winners earlier against Uruguay. So Japan finished second. They will face France on Tuesday in the bronze medal match. Portugal will play the USA for the overall title. We now know, regardless of what happens in the shootout, that Argentina will meet Senegal in the 7th place playoff between the two nations that finished bottom. Will be Australia against Uruguay, who were the only team not to pick up a point at all. Now, Argentina have already allocated their 5 penalty takers for the initial stage of the shootout. Vasquez, who was brought off the bench, Mauricio Ponce, the left back, Mateo Lopez is down to take one, so is the substitute Nahuel Flamenco, and so is the goalkeeper if it gets that far. Lucas Kufia will hope maybe that he can make himself the hero before then. They're going to be taken away to our right-hand side. So a little wait for all the spectators at the stadium pitch at the Colovre Sports Centre here in Nyon to take their position behind that goal, get the best possible vantage point. Familiar setting. This complex just directly across from UEFA's headquarters in Nyon, where the players have been given a tour as part of the off-field activity this week at the competition. So first up it's going to be Gabriel Vázquez, come off the bench, the 17-year-old in every game so far. Up against Akabu, who'll be out to atone for the error that ultimately has led to this penalty kick contest. He can't get near that one though, it's a really good penalty. Hit with conviction into the corner as the goalkeeper went the other way. A little bit of afters as he goes to get the ball out of the back of the net. So Lucas Kufir to take his turn in the Argentina goal, first French penalty. And it's going to be taken for them by one of these substitutes. Hasn't been on the field that long actually, Joel Koulibaly. It's a late call up to the squad. He didn't feature in the first two match days, but he steps up to centre stage here. One of those Rennes players who won the Under-19 Domestic Cup just a couple of weeks or so ago. Comfortable at full-back or in midfield? Is he comfortable from the penalty spot? Let us see. He is confident from Koulibaly. 1-1. Both teams trying to set the tone with impressive opening penalties. And this is where the friendship element comes into play a little bit. It's, I guess, slightly easier and the pressure is off to a certain extent in the shootout. Mauricio Ponce of Quilmes scored in the shootout on match day 1. Can he repeat the trick here? He can. And it was never really in doubt. He was also number 2 in the order in the victory over Australia from the spot. So it looks like Daryl Bacola is going to be next up for France. He's featured prominently throughout the group games without being able to get his goal. Can he keep his nerve here? He also scored the second penalty in their opening shootout against the USA. And so the trend continues. Coolly done by Bacola, 2-2. Nobody blinking yet. The players have done some work on the training ground on penalties, given the format of this competition, going straight to the shootout if the game's a level after 90 minutes. Not unexpected to find themselves in this situation. Mateo Lopez puts this one down for Argentina. Played the full game. What was his first start of the Friendship Cup? Up against Akabu. Also rolls it into that far corner in some style. Well, most of them have gone so far. Coolly done from Lopez. Following suit from those that have gone before. Adama Baraji is up next for Les Bleus. gets a little more difficult maybe with every penalty that is scored on those that follow. He'd been taken off in the opening game long before penalties. But we'll take the third one for France here. Goal scorer against Australia on Wednesday in that 3-0 matchday 2 win. 3 goals for Rom Spee in the 5th tier of French football this season. 17-year-old facing up to Lucas Kufia in goal. And the goalkeeper stops that one. Faraji denied, and it's advantage Argentina in the shootout. Well, he is down to take a kick, is Lucas Kufia, and he might just have set up the scenario for him to win the game in a couple of kicks' time. Faraji is the first to fail to convert. 3-2 Argentina. This is Flamenco. He also scored against Australia from the spot on match day 1, game that he started. Off the bench late in this one. And Flamenco puts Argentina 1 kick away from that extra point. Again goes the same way as many of his teammates, but with that measure of precision as well as power. So 4-2. And if France fail to score here, then it's all over. It will be Enzo Canabayic that has to stick this away to keep the penalty kick competition going. Canabayic did convert against the USA. It's all over if he doesn't repeat the trick. Has a think about it, and here comes Enzo Canabayic. And the goalkeeper gets to that one as well, and Argentina win the shootout. And you can see what it means with the celebrations. Lucas Kufia, the hero, with 2 penalty saves. That means he didn't need to take one. He was next up in their list of penalty takers, was the goalkeeper. But ultimately he wasn't required because of his earlier contribution doing the day job. And Argentina claimed the extra point for the penalty win here. After the game had finished all square at 1-1. It's not enough to trade places with France in the overall Group A standings, though. They will end it where they started the afternoon, in 3rd place, with 4 points to their name, 1 behind the French. The USA, the group winners. Australia end up bottom of the section. So France through to that bronze medal match, despite losing the penalty shootout here. They will take on Japan. It is Senegal next up on Tuesday for Argentina in the 5th place playoff. But they're going to enjoy it, and why not? Successful from the spot for the 2nd time in their 3 group games at the Friendship Cup. 4-2 on penalties. After it had finished here, France won, Argentina won. Thanks very much for your company. We'll see you for the conclusion of the Friendship Cup on Tuesday.
L'Argentine gagne par une séance de tir au but. Merci aux 2 équipes.